morning children. Today we are continuing our previous class. So before going to continue our class, just we will recall what we are already discussing. Okay. So our lesson is transport in plants. So these are the three substances: water, food material and minerals are the substances transporting in plant body. And this can be transported for short distances by the process of diffusion and protoplasmic movements. For long distance in tall trees, in such a case, there is a special type of tissue to transport the substances, that is vascular tissue. Vascular tissue includes xylem and phloem. Xylem which transports water, phloem which transports food material. Based on consumption of energy to transport these substances, energy is using or not. Based on that, transport is two types: active transport, passive transport. In case of active transport, energy consumption will take place, or ATP will utilize ATP utilized in active transport for transporting the substances. Another type, passive transport. In case of passive transport, no consumption of any energy. Energy will not be utilized, or your ATP will not be utilized. Passive transport lo substances ni transport cheyadaniki energy use cheyabadadu. Okay ma? Then this passive transport will take place in three ways: diffusion, facilitated diffusion and osmosis. So passive transport without using energy, the substances can be transported in these three ways: diffusion, facilitated diffusion and osmosis process. This is what we have discussed in the previous class. So we will continue. First we will go through diffusion process. What is meant by diffusion? Diffusion is the word which we already know or we are using. Specifically, to say definition about diffusion, we need to understand solution. If we want to understand diffusion process, first we want to know about the solution. You know this word generally we are using in our chemistry class or in other cases also. So what is meant by solution? Solution is a composition of solute and solvent. Solute and solvent. These both together forms solution. For example, if we take sugar solution as example, sugar is solute and water is solvent. See, simply here in case of sugar solution, sugar dissolves in water. To form sugar solution, we are going to dissolve sugar in water, which is dissolving, that is solute, and solute is dissolving in which, that is solvent. Which is dissolving in is solute, karigedi solute, దేంట్లో అయితే కరుగుతుందో అది solvent. So in case of sugar solution, sugar is dissolving in water. So dissolving, that is solute, in which this is dissolving, that is solvent. Water is solvent. And we will take another example. Salt solution. Salt plus water, it gives salt solution. In this case, maybe gaseous state or liquid state, whatever it be. In case of solvent also, solvent always is not water. ఎప్పుడు వాటర్ అయి ఉండాలి అని ఏమీ లేదు. But in case of living organisms, mostly water is the solvent. Generally, most of the substances dissolves in water, so that we will say water has universal solvent. Universal solvent. What is the universal solvent? Because of most of the substances dissolves in water. Okay, ma? This is about the solution, and you need to know two more words that which we are using in case of solutions. Those are concentrated and diluted solutions. Concentrated and diluted solutions. When we will say a solution is a concentrated or diluted. So for example, to understand this, we will take two glasses with 100 ml of water. Both the glasses are taken with 100 ml of water. And here, first glass we will take as sample A and sample B. First glass, we are adding 1 spoon of sugar. And in the second glass, we are taking 2 spoons of sugar. Okay, ma? 2 glasses with same quantity of water, 100 ml and 100 ml. But in case of sugar, we are taking here in the first sample 1 spoon, and in the second sample 2 spoons of sugar we are adding. Here in this case, in the sugar solution, we will form in these 2 glasses. Now, which we will consider as the concentrated solution and which we will consider as diluted solution? Means, in which solute is high, it will be considered as concentrated solution. In which solute amount is low, that is diluted solution. Is this clear? Based on amount of solute dissolved in solvent, can say whether it is a concentrated solution or diluted solution. So now I hope you are able to say simply which is high concentrated. 2 spoons of solute or sugar which we add in the second sample, it is concentrated because solute amount is more. And here this is 1 spoon, so this is dilute. Okay, ma? Imagine the situation. We are added 2 more spoons of sugar to the first sample. In this case, which is concentrated? Means first sample is concentrated. Now this is dilute. Because when compared with the first solution, second solution having less amount of solute. Less having means automatically dilute. More amount concentrated. Okay. So like this concentrations we can say while comparing with the other. Imagine we are taking 1 more glass of water with the same amount. Again here also taking same quantity of water, but here we are going to take 4 spoons of sugar. What will you say? In this case, which is concentrated solution? Means, now in this case, from these 3 samples, third one or C is the concentrated solution. Because of when compared with these 3 samples, you will find that solute concentration or solute is more in the C sample. So this is concentrated solution. Like this way, whether a solution is concentrated or diluted. Okay. Remember these concentrations: high concentration and low concentration. You need to remember here in this case solvent. Sorry. Solute. In case of diffusion process, solute particles will move from high concentration to low concentration. Solute particles are moving from higher concentration to lower concentration. So simply we can say diffusion as movement of solute particles from high concentration to low concentration. For example, a beaker which contains certain amount of water, and here we are adding 1 spoon of potassium permanganate. When you are adding this potassium permanganate, here you will find more amount of KMnO4 molecules are present at this corner of the beaker. These molecules are absent in all other corners of this. So here these molecules are low and this is high. So high concentrated area this is. Solute particles are high at this corner but here low. So automatically from this high concentrated area, low movement of molecules will take place to the lower concentration. It means KMnO for potassium permanganate molecules starts to move slowly towards the lower concentration area. ఈ పొటాషియం పర్మాంగనేట్ మాలిక్యూల్స్ స్లోగా ఈ బీకర్ మొత్తం స్ప్రెడ్ అవుతాయి. ఓకేనా? సో ఫ్రమ్ దిస్ హై కాన్సంట్రేటెడ్ ఏరియా these molecules are moving towards the low concentrated area. This process we can say as a diffusion. Movement of solute. Here KMnO4 is the solute and water is solvent. Okay ma? Solvent. Water is solvent and KMnO4 is solute. These solute particles are moving from high concentration to low concentration. Okay. Then we will take one more example. Generally, we give life in our daily life what we are experiencing. That as example for diffusion. Sand stick. Lightning in sand stick. Kaddilu velistam kada. At one corner that we are lighted means smell we are able to fragrance we are able to smell it throughout our house. So it is happening because of diffusion process. Our molecules అనేవి ఆ వెలిగించిన కార్నర్ నుంచి అదర్ కార్నర్స్ కి అదర్ ప్లేసెస్ కి కూడా స్ప్రెడ్ అవడం వల్ల మనం వేరే ప్లేస్ లో అంటే ఇంట్లో ఏ కార్నర్ లో ఉన్నా కూడా అబ్జర్వ్ చేయగలుగుతాం. సిమిలర్లీ జాస్మిన్ ఫ్లవర్స్. While blooming the flowers at one corner just you kept means we are able to identify that smell in another corner of the room also. examples we can take, but here this movement, we said that KMNO4 molecules moving to the low concentrated area from high concentration. This movement of molecule will take place up to the formation of equilibrium. Okay, ma? KMNO4 molecules are moving throughout the solvent or throughout this beaker vessel. The KMNO4 molecules high concentration unti low concentrated area ki spread avutayi ani chepparu. That movement or that spreading will take place up to the formation of equilibrium. What is meant by equilibrium? Evenly, it means at this corner these high amount of molecules will spread throughout the chamber or throughout the beaker. Then the amount of KMNO4 molecules are same throughout the glass or this beaker. ఈ కార్నర్ లో ఎన్ని మాలిక్యూల్స్ ఉంటాయో ఒక పర్టిక్యులర్ ఏరియా తీసుకుంటే here is 50 molecules. Imagine here in this corner 50 molecules. If you are taking same area in another place also, will have the similar. అంటే మొత్తం ఈ బీకర్ మొత్తం completely these molecules are spreaded evenly. That condition can say as equilibrium. So diffusion is the process which takes place movement of solid particles from high concentration to low concentration up to formation of equilibrium. Okay, ma? And then this is a diffusion process. Here this diffusion can be affected by different factors. It means diffusion process can be slower by some factors or can be faster by some factors. కొన్ని diffusion process ని fast గా జరిగేలా చేస్తాయి. But few factors can slow down the process of diffusion. What the factors are that show impact on diffusion process? Those are temperature, density, lipid solubility. Okay, so first what is temperature? How temperature will show effect on diffusion process? If the temperature is high, then diffusion process is faster. Diffusion process is faster. High temperature condition lo molecules move faster. So diffusion process will take place fast at higher temperature. In case of density, solute particles having more density or more weight, bigger particles, then in that case it will be slow. Heavy particles, solute particles kanka heavy particles aite, that diffusion process will be slower. We already know that heavy particles that they move slow when compared with the lighter. చిన్నగా ఉండేవి తేలిగ్గా మూవ్ కాగలుగుతాయి. హెవీగా ఉండే particles it takes some more time. Like that here, if solute particle is heavier or dense, in such a case diffusion will be slow. And lipid solubility. What is a lipid solubility? If solute particle can dissolve. Solute particle can dissolve in lipids. Lipids are nothing but fats. Lipids are nothing but process also high. Concentration difference low means diffusion also low, slower jarugutundi. Here is 50 molecules and here also we will have the same amount. But here in this case there is no difference, concentration difference లేదు. బయట సైడ్ ఉన్నాయి, లోపల సైడ్ కూడా అనే ఉన్నాయి. In this case diffusion will not take place. So that concentration gradient is high, then diffusion also faster గా జరుగుతుంది. concentration difference ఎక్కువగా ఉంటే high concentration కనుక ఉన్నట్లయితే automatically the diffusion process will take place faster. Okay ma? Temperature, density, liquid solubility, concentration gradient are the factors which shows effect on diffusion process. Okay, we will go to the next one. Second type of passive transport is facilitated diffusion. In all these three types, you need to remember that is passive transport which will not consume heat. Facilitated diffusion. Previously, already we discussed about the diffusion. Movement of solute particles from high concentration to low concentration. Here also same thing happens. Substances will move from high concentration to lower concentration. But what is the difference between diffusion and facilitated diffusion means? For the diffusion process, here is helping a protein. For diffusion process, proteins are helpful, so that we are saying this as a facilitated. Proteins are facilitating diffusion process. So facilitated diffusion, proteins which are helping or which are facilitating for the diffusion process, that proteins can say as the carrier proteins. Carrier proteins. More number of carrier proteins are present in living organisms body. Here we will take few examples for carrier proteins. Porins and aquaporins. These are the two examples for carrier proteins which facilitates the diffusion, which helps for the movement of which helps for the diffusion of molecules. That can say carrier proteins. Two are the examples: porins, aquaporins. Okay. How this protein or carrier proteins are helpful for diffusion process or transporting the substances? Simply here we will go to the structure of a plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is bilayer lipid molecules are arranged and tail parts are towards the inner, and this is head portion. This is not necessary here. Okay. And few protein molecules are embedded or emerged in between the that can be binds with carrier proteins. After binding, this carrier protein enters into the cell. After entering into the cell, this releases the substance into the cell and this can be returns back. Okay, ma? Carrier protein binding with the substance which needs to transport into the cell and it can be passes into the cell. After entering into the cell, these two are detaching or separating. Then substance will remain in the cell. Proteins, carrier proteins again coming to the back and again it will continue the same process. Okay, so like this proteins are helping to transport the substances into the cell. So that we are saying this is a facilitated diffusion. Proteins are facilitating the diffusion process. Okay, ma? So this is a facilitated diffusion. Based on the direction, in which direction the substances or the materials are moving, based on that facilitated diffusion having different types in them. Those are unitransport, symport, osmosis remaining, uniport, symport and antiport. Facilitated diffusion based on the direction, in which direction that substances are moving. Here also in all these three cases, protein is facilitating the movement of substance. Protein substances ni move chestindi, but in which direction is important here. Okay, ma? So here the substance or we'll take something substance, it can be transport in one direction, but this will not be takes place in the opposite direction. Only transport of substances can be takes place only in one direction. That can say as unitransport through the protein molecules compulsory. And here in case of symport, two substances are moving through the protein in the same direction. Both the substances or both the molecules are moving through the same protein in the same direction. Rendu substances ni carrier protein carries these two substances also moving in the same direction. Okay, and then in case of antiport, here also carrier protein is helping and two substances are moving in opposite direction. One substance is moving to in of the cell and one is moving to the out of the cell. It means opposite direction. So this type of movement or this type of facilitated diffusion can say as the antiport transport, where this can be takes place. Uniport transport can be takes place at the place of a synapse. It takes place at the place of synapse. Nerve cells lo messages ఒకే direction లో move అవుతాయి, opposite direction లో move కాదు. In that case transport will take place. Movement of calcium ions. Synapse question lo release ayye calcium ions uniport transport lo jarugutundi. And then what happens in case of symport transport? This can be takes place in our intestines, where the glucose absorption will take place. Sodium ions, glucose molecules both are facilitating by the protein in the same direction. And then in case of antipode, here sodium ions and potassium ions. These are moving in opposite directions. See here, in all these cases, direction is important. Uniport transport, single substance or single molecule, single substance is transporting to the carrier protein in the unidirection, in one direction. And in case of symport, two substances are transporting by the carrier protein, but these two are transporting in the same direction. In antipode transport, two substances are transporting by single protein, but that is in two different directions. Opposite sides lo move. So it is antipode transport. Then remaining another type of passive transport is osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of definition for osmosis process. Movement of solvent. In case of diffusion, it is a solute. In case of osmosis, solvent molecules. Movement of solvent molecules from its higher concentration to lower concentration. It means where solvent quantity is higher concentration, there to lower concentration it will be moved. Generally, here we will say, instead of solvent we can say as water, because of in living organisms solvent is water. So simply we can say this movement of water molecules from its higher concentration to lower concentration. Otherwise, you can say another definition also. Movement of water molecules from high water potential. High water potential to lower to lower concentration. So simply you can take this this definition best. Here we will take few examples for concentration of solutions. Already introduced to you high concentration and low concentration. We are taking three beakers. High concentrated solution, also can say as hypertonic solution. High concentration solution is also saying as hypertonic solution, and low concentrated solutions can say as hypotonic solution. High concentrated solutions the hypertonic solutions and low concentrated solutions the hypotonic solutions. Okay. Here three beakers we are taking. In these three beakers we are going to take animal cell will take. We are going to place animal cells sample A, sample B, sample C. This is isolated solution and this is hypotonic solution and this is hypertonic solution. Isotonic. Three we are taken: hypotonic solution and hypertonic solution, which means that having higher concentration and this is low concentration, this is no difference, same concentrations are present. Here in these type of solutions we are going to place an animal cell. In these three we are placing animal cell. What are the changes will take place in this? We said that already in osmosis process movement of water takes place from low concentrated solution to high concentrated solution. Movement of water molecules from lower concentration to high concentrated solutions. So here we are saying this is high concentrated solution and this is low concentrated solution. This is isotonic. Here in the first case, animal cell and the solution which is present in the beaker will have same concentration. No change in concentrations of these two. Animal cell lo ఏ concentration అయితే ఉంటుందో similar concentration is present in the solution which is present in beaker also. Okay ma? So no any change takes place in this. In case if any molecules are entered into the animal cell means also same amount of molecules. ఒకవేళ 2 enter అయ్యాయి అనుకుందాం. Same number 2 again will be releases into the solution. So no any change takes place in this first animal cell which is placed in the A sample because of both the concentrations are similar. Concentration gradient is not here. Concentration difference లేదు కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ ఎలాంటి చేంజ్ జరగదు. In the second case, beaker containing solution is low and animal cell is high concentration. Then what happens? Movement of water takes place from water molecules move into the animal cell because animal cell high concentration. So because of entry of water molecules into the animal cell, cell will be turgid or swells or increases in size. This process will take place continuously. Then animal cell swells and it leads to burst, or the cell will be ruptured, cell destroyed due to the more amount of water entering into the animal cell. Plasma membrane will be ruptured and cell will be destroyed. In which case, when we place the animal cell in low concentrated solution, because of low concentration, water moves into the animal cell. Next, in the third case, what happens? Here, this beaker containing solution is high concentrated and the animal cell having low concentration. Reverse will happen to this. From this animal cell, water molecules will move out. This process also can say as exosmosis. Water molecules coming out from the animal cell, so can say exosmosis. But here water molecules are entering into the cell, so this can say endosmosis. Exosmosis, endosmosis. So in this case water will come out. This is exosmosis. And what happens? What changes will take place in the cell? What happens means, due to the loss of water, animal cell shrinks. It means size will be decreases and will form as a wrinkled surface. Because of loss of water, animal cell shape will be changes. Wrinkled surface will form, which can say as shrink. Plant animal cell will shrink. These are the changes will take place when animal cell is in different concentrated solutions. Isotonic solution means no any change, but in case of hypotonic solution, endosmosis will take place and animal cell will rupture finally. And in case of hypertonic solution, then exosmosis will take place. Animal cell shape will be changes or it forms as a wrinkled cell. Okay, ma? Here we are going to take plant cell. In another case, solution concentrations will be the same. Same solutions, but here we are changing the cell which we are placing. Instead of animal cell, we are going to place here plant cell. If we place plant cell in these solutions, what are the changes takes place? Animal cell or plant cell pette okay. In the first case, when we place plant cell in Here also same process will take place. End osmosis will take place. Low concentration to high concentration water molecules movement will take place. But here cell turgidity or swelling plant cell increases in size or turgidity. But here we are going to take as a little bit bigger plant cell. Molecules are entering into the plant cell. It shows some pressure on the walls of plant cell. Water molecules which entered into the cell, these water molecules will show some pressure on walls. Locally entering water molecules, more amount of water means it shows some pressure on the walls of plant cell. But here similarly cell wall also will show oppositely pressure on the water molecules. Water molecules చూపించే pressure కి opposite pressure can be shown by plant cell wall. Cell wall ఇక్కడ opposite pressure ని చూపిస్తుంది. So that here cell will not rupture. Shape also will not change. Slightly will be changes, but it is negligible. చాలా చిన్న చేంజ్ జరుగుతుంది, బట్ ఆ షేప్ లో పెద్దగా చేంజ్ కనిపించదు. సో దట్ we consider simply no change in the shape of cell. Okay ma? Because of cell wall creating opposite pressure to the water pressure. లోపలికి ఎంటర్ అయిన వాటర్ మాలిక్యూల్స్ చూపించే ప్రెషర్ కి ఆపోజిట్ cell wall pressure చూపిస్తుంది. So that here plant cell will not be ruptured just like animal cell. Animal cell wall is absent, so plasma membrane will be ruptured, but not in case of plant cell because of presence of cell wall. What happens in case of hypertrophy?